Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and people have been excited, and for a good reason, about the recent developments in AI image generation, whereby you are using a chat model or an LLM like ChatGPT or Google's Gemini to create and edit images. And that allows you to do things like go to chat and say, create an image of a frog on a lily pad, and then edit this image by simply typing in a prompt that says he is wearing a red top hat. So instead of just re-entering the prompt and saying, with a red top hat, which would give you a completely different image of a frog wearing a top hat, you get basically the same image with the addition of the red top hat. It is not a pixel for pixel re-representation of the original image, and you really start to see that when you try to do it with an image of a person. For example, I upload this image here, and I say put a red top hat on this man, and I get this, which is an approximation of me. It's close. We got the purple studio, we got the blue shirt and general characteristics, but that would not pass as me. Also, while it's great to have these images, if I want to do anything with them, I have to save them, download them, bring them into another platform if I'm going to further edit them or animate them. And as I mentioned, ChatGPT is not the only technology that does this. Google's Gemini does it as well. So wouldn't it be great if we could have all of these tools in one place so I wouldn't have to jump all around to try different things and do a mishmash, and you know what I'm talking about? Well, that is the beauty of what we're going to be talking about today, because our sponsor and creative partner OpenArt have added the ability to do chat-based editing right within the platform. And if you haven't grasped the potential of that yet, stick around because I'm going to show you. Now, before I get into this, I want to say something to all of you who are creatives and who want to use platforms like this and watch videos like mine and look at the credits in the corner and go, must be nice to have all those credits. Yeah, it's pretty nice to have all those credits. And how do I get those credits? By being a creative partner and affiliate for OpenArt. And being a creative partner with OpenArt comes with its share of perks. And it's a program that is available to you. And I've left the link in the description so that you can go to the application here and fill that thing out, because if you are in a position like mine or in any other way think that you might qualify as a creative partner, you should definitely check this out, because you're getting things like free access and credits to OpenArt. You get access to new features before they come out. They're going to spotlight you in your work, as they have done for me. You get priority for paid collaborations, and they are a regular sponsor, as you know, of our channel. Community event and pre-approval for their affiliate program. Now, if you just want to join their affiliate program, you can also do that. I'll leave a link to that as well, and you can apply as an OpenArt affiliate as opposed to a creative partner, where you can earn commissions by referring people to OpenArt, but you don't have to be a creator of any particular content. You're just getting them there however you're getting them there. But if you're a user of these tools like I am, and you would like to be able to have access to these tools before they come out and play with some of this stuff, then I encourage you to go and fill out this application and see what happens. Now, from the OpenArt homepage, you will find this new chat edit interface by clicking through to create image, and then you'll get a new menu here. So once you are in the create tab, you will see this little button here for chat beta. And here you'll see the history of my chat, because I've been too attached to it to clear it, but I'll do that for this video. And then a history of all the things that you have done in the chat. So just basic functionality here, just like if you were using ChatGPT or Gemini, you start here with an image. So I would have loaded in this image, and then the prompt I said was make her dress blue and white striped, which resulted in this image here. And then I said she's wearing a yellow hat, which resulted in this image here. And then I said she is holding a kitten, which resulted in this image here. So you see where this is going. But up here, you'll notice that not only do you have access to just ChatGPT, you have access to Google Gemini, and you have 3 different levels of ChatGPT. You have medium, high, and basic. And I encourage you to play with all of them to see what kind of results you get, because many times they're just different, not necessarily better. One of the other fun features of this interface is this character lab here, which allows you to very, very quickly change the style of a particular image. So let's say, for example, I load in this image here. I can click on Character Lab, and you will see that I have 40 plus styles of images that I can quickly choose from. So for example, if I say apply papercraft, depending on the model I use, whether it's Gemini or whatever level of GPT, I get this result, or I get this result, or I get this result. Is one better than the other? It really just depends on what I'm looking for. But one of the great features of being able to iteratively edit your images like this with minimal changes to them overall is for filmmaking, start and end frames specifically. It's a technique for creating videos that's available here in the platform that involves using a starting frame and an ending frame, and then the AI fills in the motion in between. So for example, if I have this image here of the troll sitting here, and then I give chat the command, he is making a peace sign, then I get this image here. Now I've got 2 images images here that I can bring into the video editing part of the platform and use either of the models that use start and end frames, either the Kling 1.6 model or the Pixverse model, and I can test both of those. So if I want to create an animation between these two keyframes, I would click to download the first image. In this case, I'll just use a JPEG, and then I'll click here and download the second image. And now I can just pop over to the video section, choose, let's say, the Pixverse model, which is one of the two models that does start and end frame. Come over here, we'll clear out the one that we've got here. I can click here and I can use any image that I've created in the history here, or in this case we just want to upload these two images here as start and end. So this is the start frame, and then I'll click here for the end frame, upload again, choose this end frame, change this prompt to say troll in studio makes a peace sign. I'm going to click on create there, and while that's going I can show you these examples here. I had started with this image that I created here in the platform of Tracy as a witch. I used the character lab to give it this painterly style, and then I just prompted it to say that she is holding a raven in her hand, and it created this image here. And again, I have start and end frames, and using the exact same technique as I did with the troll, we get this smooth animation between those two keyframes. And then here's another version where the raven is on fire for some reason. And then here's our troll sitting here and making a peace sign, baby. Now, hopefully the wheels are beginning to spin a little bit, because not only do we have access to all those different models to edit with chat, we also are inside of a platform where we can create these images. Because as we saw, uploading a picture of myself into chat and then saying, give me a red hat, is not going to work. It just doesn't have enough information about me to create an accurate re-representation. But inside OpenArt, I've made 2 or 3 different models of myself, so I can prompt exactly what I want. I can go over to create, I can switch to a Bob Doyle model here, pop up the weight just a little bit and say, man is sitting in a purple recording studio with a red top hat. I'll go ahead and click on the auto enhance. It always just adds a little bit more detail and richness to the image. I'm going to change the aspect ratio to cinema, and I'm going to click on credit, and then we're going to experience the super fast rendering time of the OpenArt platform, which is one of the reasons I love it so much, is because I can just talk for a couple of seconds and we're not waiting 35 seconds for a couple of flux renderings. Here we go. Right now we've got this one here. I'm sitting in a purple recording studio. So I'll modify this and say close up of man sitting in a purple recording studio with a red top hat talking to the camera. In fact, I'm going to say close up head and shoulders shot of man and create these. So let's say we've got this one here, and I will save that. I'll go ahead and save this one too. But if I've created them right here within the platform, I don't actually have to do that. If I want to use them in the chat section, I can just go to chat, and this will be my starting image here. I'm just going to create a whole new image, and instead of doing upload or anything like that, I'm going to click on history, and I'll just choose this one here and confirm, and now we have a starting image. Now let's say I wanted the studio that he is sitting in to be more like the studio that I'm sitting in right now. Not just a purple studio, but more like this purple studio. So I want to tell chat to add that purple studio, or at least a close approximation, to this image as the background instead of what we've got here. So to do that, I'm going to click on over here, and I'm going to click the plus sign, and I'm going to upload a picture of the studio. So now, although it's very tiny down here, there's a picture of the studio, and I'm going to say, put the man in this studio instead. So I used the Gemini model in this case, and I think I want to reword this because it just says put the man in this studio instead, and it's pretty much the same studio. So let me be more explicit about which studio I'm talking about. And I'm going to go back to this original image here, because otherwise the change of what I make will be to this one, and the more we do this, the more I lose the details of the face, although some models are better at preserving it than others, as you'll see. But let's go back to this right here, and I'm going to say put the man into the studio in the attached image. Just speak normal language, Bob, and see what happens. It is not doing it. Let's try a different model. Let's try the GPT model. Go back to the original image and say change the background to the attached image. By the way, the higher level you go here, the longer it does take to get these results. When you're doing the Gemini, it happens pretty fast, but by the time you're going up here to the high, you're going to wait a few seconds more. But it's not like a couple of minutes, it's just longer than the others. Okay, now we're headed in the right direction, although they changed the face. Now, because I'm in the OpenArt platform, I could take this image into the editor here and just do an inpaint of my face over this, and I'd have exactly what I wanted here. So that's another advantage of being inside a platform that gives you a ton of editing tools, because if something doesn't happen that's perfect, you can just fix it right here. But this does make obvious the limitations of any of these chat-based approaches to doing iterative changes. You really see it when you're doing realistic human faces. Generally speaking, it's the Gemini model here that does the best job of keeping the original image the same, and the GPT models are great for style transfers and things like that. When you're doing things like character changes, it really shines here. We can quickly go from an image like this to a style like this to a style like this to a style like this just by using this character lab. The character lab is actually based on the middle GPT model here, so if you want to use that, you're using it exactly as it was intended, but you can change it to any of these models if you'd like. Just remember, in the case like this, if you're playing with different styles on an original image, you're going to want to go back to the original image before you apply another style, or you're going to be applying the new style on top of this image here, and that may not give you the result you want, or it may. It's up to you. You can also base new images on the characters that you're able to create right here within the platform. So if I click on character, for example, you're going to see a list of all the characters that I've created here in the OpenArt platform using their character creator, which can create characters from anywhere from 1 to 4 or more images, or based on a text description. So if I wanted to create an image with one of these characters as the base, for example, this Magic Bob dude, I would just choose that, and here he'd be loaded up into the image. And now I can tell the LLM where I want him to be. So I can say something like, put him on the beach. Something as simple as that, and just let it go. I am using the medium model here as it was intended. And now he's sitting there on the beach with a sly little look on his face. And now let's just do a simple iterative edit. He is holding his hat in his hands. The idea being we're going to create a start and stop image to animate, 1 with him wearing the hat and 2 with him taking it off. Now, couldn't we just do one single image and tell him to take off the hat? Absolutely. And if we don't care where the hat lies, like what position his arms are in holding the hat, we can absolutely do that. The idea between start and stop frames is having absolute control over how the motion is happening. So here we go. I think that's a good couple of start and stop frames here. So I'm going to download this and download this. And I'm downloading them because right now these are in our edit history and not in the history of our image creation. So let's go over to video. We'll clear this out. We'll choose the Kling 1.6 model this time. We'll go over here to start frame. We'll clear this out, and I can actually just drag these images from the download list. The first one with his hat on and the second one with his hat off. And we'll just say magician removes hat as the waves roll in and a breeze blows the palm tree fronds in the background. Give it stuff to do, baby. I'll just go with the defaults here and click on create, and we'll see what happens there. And while we're waiting for that, we'll use this as a little intermission. This is another example of an animation that was used by iteratively editing a series of images and then creating start and end frames. And then the prompt was chicken with a man's head walks back to the stove to check the teapot. So we even added the sound effects in real time. The chicken walks back there, the teapot steaming, and all of that. If we go back to our chat history, you can see we started with this image here, and that was created by starting with this character here and then prompting him to be in a kitchen holding eggs. Through chat prompts, I iteratively changed the image from one of the eggs opening to showing a chicken to finally him being on a chicken body. And as I'm saying this, I realized this was not a start and end frame example. I simply used this as a start frame and then gave it the prompt walking back to the teapot. So in that case, I didn't actually need him to be in a certain spot. But what I find is as I go through these iterations and just try things and see what it comes up with, I get all these ideas for videos I'd like to try, and I can just do them right here on the platform without having to download them and take them somewhere else or do anything else to them. Here I started with this image that I also created here in OpenArt, and then I gave it the prompt, the pigs are robotic, and then we had robotic pigs back there, and then I said the man is wearing overalls, and we get this image here. With this prompt, I added the character of Tess by clicking here and saying character, choosing Tess from the drop-down, and then I said woman is handing the man a pizza. So it knew to use this picture of Tess as the reference image for the woman, and so now I have these two here. Then I gave it the prompt, they are both angry at each other, and now I have a start frame and an end frame. And I made this picture where they're angry, the start frame, and then where they had the pizza, the end frame, and said couple argue and then pick up a pizza. And then we get them arguing a little bit, and then he suddenly has a pizza, walks back a little bit, and presents it. So although that's a little bit janky and you could do multiple revisions of that, you get the idea of how we can use these two images to connect a scene exactly the way we want. So now we have our magician removing his hat as the waves roll in. Okay, that is not really the kind of movement I wanted there. That was the Kling 1.6 model. Let's do the same thing, but let's use the Pixverse model and see what we get there. And while that's going, let's do a version where we don't use an end frame, because in this case it might work out a lot better if we don't need it to be in a certain position. But before I can even do that, this one is ready. So let's see how this model did. So this is the Pixverse model, and way better. Like exactly what I wanted. So again, the benefit of having all of these different models in the same platform is you can test them all and see which one does better, and you don't have to jump around from the Kling platform to the Pixverse platform, then back to OpenArt or any of that. It's all right here. But let's go through with our experiment here, and we will use the Veo 2 model for this because it's actually one of the quicker ones here, and we'll just use the 5-second version, and I will create this. Now again, this is having him take off his hat without using start and end frame, so the ending position is up to the AI. Okay, here's what Veo 2 did with taking off the hat, and I'm waiting for the hat to come off, and it didn't come off at all. Now I can be a little bit more explicit. Removes his hat with his hands and holds the hat in front of him, like really lay it out for him, and we can try that version. And this is one of the things I found with my experimentation with the Veo 2 model, is it doesn't always give me the adherence that I expect. And that was a very simple prompt. He takes off his hat, but he did not take off his hat. We're also not really seeing the palm fronds blow back there. Now in this one with the Pixverse model, we have the palm fronds and the rolling tide and the perfect movement here. So I think we have a clear winner in this example anyway. All right, let's see what we got here. Now he's reached, oh, no, that's kind of janky too. It's like he wants to, but he's not gonna. So again, even though he starts to use his hands, we got some janky movement there. The waves roll consistently, but he seems to be sort of stopping and starting along the way. Now let's go back and revisit this character lab, because there is so much potential here because of the number of styles here. If you wanted to create a cartoon based on an image of yourself or people that you know in a particular style, you can do that here, animate the whole thing all within the platform, including sound effects and the whole thing. Let me go ahead and just clear this because I've never done it before. Now this is what you start with. Hi, I'm Ori, your image editing assistant. Upload an image to the right to get started. I can help you change colors, swap backgrounds, tweak poses, and much more. Now you know all this already because that's what we've been doing. So let's start a new image, and again use the character feature here, and let's choose Presley. Now we're going to change her style here, but let's first put her in a situation. First of all, we need to get rid of that image that was lingering from before. So we're going to say she is holding a puppy on a park bench. Now again, we don't care right now if it's a pixel for pixel representation of her, because we're about to change the style dramatically and create basically a cartoon out of this rather than trying to do photorealistic video here. Okay, so here she is. She's holding a puppy on the park bench, just like we said. All right, let's go ahead and give it another style completely. We've got so many to choose from. Let's see what would be fun to play with on an ongoing basis. Like maybe the South Park. Let's just play with it and see what we get. Okay, so now we have her as a South Park character holding a puppy, but here's the thing. This is like a portrait image, and I'd really rather have a landscape image of this. So what to do? Well, I can't just say, hey, make this a landscape image. I don't think. Let's just see if what happens. Give this 16.9 aspect ratio. I don't know if this is going to work or not. That'd be cool if it did. Okay, it did it. Or at least close. Close enough. That's pretty impressive. I was about to take it into the editor here and use the expand feature, and I didn't really have to. So now how can we iterate this? How about we say that it's raining? It is raining and she is looking up. All right. Still hanging in with the GPT medium model for this. Oh yeah, that's really good. So okay, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted there. Now let's say she opens a blue umbrella. That is the position I wanted the umbrella in. I wanted her to be holding it with the little pole rather than that. I think I may try this one more time and be more specific with the prompt and say she is holding a blue umbrella over herself to stay dry. Her hands wrapped, her hand wrapped around the umbrella handle. So really getting in there with detail. She's still not holding it in her hand. I'm going to back up to this one more time. I'm going to keep the same prompt up here. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. And this time I'm going to use the GPT High and just see if it does a better job. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, illustrating the benefits of using several of these models until you get the thing you want. Now we've got a series of keyframes that we can create a video with. Let's go through and download each of these. First, she's there, sitting there, and then it's raining. and then the one where she is holding the umbrella. We'll go over here to videos again, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go right for pics first because we know it does a stellar job. I'm gonna do the start frame. Now to get the full effect, we'll have to do some editing after the fact because we're creating two videos here. One where she's sitting there and it starts to rain, and then the next one where it's raining and then she opens up the umbrella. So we're gonna see what we get here. So let's upload the first one where she's just sitting there and it is not raining. We'll go over here to in frame, and then we will upload the one where it begins to rain. We probably don't even have to type a prompt, but I will say, as the girl sits on a park bench with a puppy, it begins to rain. We want the Pixverse model because we know that it has been performing in a very good way. We'll keep it at the 720p in 5 seconds for this first clip, and we'll click on create and let that be happening. Now I can go ahead and click this button here, which will flip the started in frames here because we now want the frame where it's raining to be the start frame of the next clip. We'll click here and delete this one and now choose the last frame, which is the one where she's holding the umbrella. So we upload that, and then we will say girl opens umbrella. Now this is a tricky movement here. I'm going to be really interested to see what it does, but we'll go ahead and have that creating too. So here's the first one. They're sitting on the bench and it begins to rain. I like it. It's totally fine with me. It's an interesting appearance of this cloud here, but I like what we've got, and there's no weird tearing or anything like that. So there's the first clip, which I'll go ahead and download. And here's the second one. It's raining and it kind of appears. I guess that's okay. It moves through her face a little. We're breaking some laws of physics. It's not exactly what I expected, but since there's no umbrella in the scene, like laying next to her, it sort of has to appear from thin air when I think about it. So my poor creative choice there should not detour you from seeing how cool this is and what the potential is to be able to create these iterative images so that you can control the movement and what's going on in the scene if you want to. You know, within the platform, we're able to add elements to any videos by using the elements features. If we wanted to add some sort of an object into this picture, we could drag and drop an image here and run it and it would work. But we have similar functionality with chat just by using this feature here. If I wanted to add an object or something into this image, I could upload a reference image. Let's say this box of cereal. I'm not sure how the style is going to look because this is a very distinct style here and it's different than the original image of the Godio's box. But let's just say add the cereal box next to her on a bench. Now obviously this is creating a still image and not a video, but if you're creating source images for a future video and you want to add elements with more control, this is a way to do it. You could also take this image into the editing feature here and use inpainting or other techniques to add that box of cereal exactly where you want it. Again, that is the benefit of being inside of a platform where you have all the editing capabilities, so that if something doesn't show up perfect here, you've got a whole list of tools that you can use to make it so. And so here's the box of cereal next to her on the park bench, and it maintained the look of the original. Didn't give it the South Park style, and it's probably a little bit brighter than the rest of the image to seem too realistic. But no doubt you're getting a picture of some of the potential on the image creation and editing capabilities when you have all of these different chat models at your disposal. If these are the types of cool breakthroughs in AI, image, and video technology you like to hear about, well, why not subscribe to this channel? Because this is stuff we go after all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I